At the very outset, I would like to thank the organizers of this 3 day workshop on different topics. The principal of the college, Dr. Kulkarni sir, my friend Dr. Masure sir, Dr. Kulkarni sir of the same department, Department of English, Kale sir, and all dear students. Today, what we are going to learn, actually, the session will be a discussion session, and since it is a workshop, we are trying to learn and build whatever topics here we are discussing. What we are going to discuss here, the very first that we will talk about resume building, then we'll talk about job application, and the last part will be the email writing. And in the class, we will prepare all these three topics since these topics are prescribed for your syllabus, and beyond that syllabus, these topics are very important in your career building. As the title of your workshop is writing skill, so we are going to build our writing skills. Now, in writing skills, yesterday Dr. Nitonde has delivered, or you had a workshop on a different topic, and today we have a workshop on job application, email writing, and resume writing. So, first thing that we are going to learn is resume writing, and we'll go slide by slides. I have prepared a few slides for you so that you can understand, and at the same time, while we are discussing, we are going to note down the points. We are going to note down the things that we are learning here. Are you getting the idea what I am talking about? I hope you all get the same. So this is an overview of the slides, what we are going to learn, so that you can get an idea of the things that we are going to cover. So all these points we are going to cover in this workshop. And this workshop will be a practical workshop, so that you can build your resume, you can write a very good application, and also you can write an email, because these three parts or documents or the topics are important in your career building. Since this is related to writing skills, and hence we have covered all these things in this very workshop. The basic objectives that I have set for this workshop is, you can see here, understand the importance of effective writing in career building. Why writing is important and why we have chosen these topics. The three topics mentioned here on the slides will talk about the importance. The first objective that I have set. The second objective, learn how to create a strong resume and cover letter. This is the second thing, that you will be able to build your own resume after this workshop. I assure you, when we complete this workshop, you have your resume in your hand. So that will be an outcome. The third objective that I said, master professional email writing techniques. So many of you might be familiar with the email and you already have accounts on email, but how to write a professional email and why professional email is important in your career building, that we are going to discuss here. And the last objective that I set for you is gain practical tips for career growth through writing. Why writing is important and why these three aspects or these three documents are very important in your career also. Because writing resume, writing an application or writing an email is only a part, but this part has immense importance in your career also, because you need to communicate on different levels. So all these things we have covered in this workshop. Now let's start with the very first point, that is importance of writing. Why writing is important? The basic things that here we have listed. Very first, writing as a reflection of professionalism. So we write many things. We write answers to the questions. We write some of you might be are well poets or short story writers. You might be writing those things. For writing for career building is a different thing. You need to choose your vocabulary. You need to choose a very particular kind of phrases when you write professionally. So first thing is that the writing is nothing but the reflection of your professionalism. How you reflect through your writing, because it is a means of expression, it is a means of communication. Hence, our writing should be very neat and clean and understandable to others to whom we are writing. Next is impact of written communication on job applications and networking. This is also very important. You might have written so many applications till graduation or till this time. You might have written applications for asking your documents to the authorities or college principals. So these applications are different, and there is some similarity. The applications you have already written and the applications here we are going to write down. Next, we have building credibility and personal brand through writing. So, this point is very important because it gives you an opportunity to build your personal brand. So, people are recognized for their writing. If you are reading newspapers like the Hindu or the newspapers like the Indian Express, and you find that they use a very particular kind of language in the articles. If you are reading the articles in Indian Express in the editorial section, you will find that the language they use is a very particular language, and we need to adopt that kind of language so that we can stand out in our applications, in our emails, or basically in our communication. So that part we are going to cover here. We have three terms generally we use interchangeably. The first is resume, second is biodata, and the third is CV. And the basic difference is given here in these three terms. Most of the time we use it interchangeably. When we say biodata, most of the time we mean CV or we mean resume. But there is a little difference between these three terms. What is that difference? So you can see here on the slide that difference. Uh, the aspect is given. For example, the purpose. What is the purpose of resume? What is the purpose of CV? Or what is the purpose of biodata? So you can find very clearly that resume is written for job application, and hence we are also learning how to write a job application through the these points, or the resume is an attachment to the job application. The very purpose of resume is for job application. And for what we use biodata? We use biodata for personal profiles like marriages, or when we fill government forms. So we send biodata. Now you all are aspirants, right? So you may send your biodata to the next party in the marriage proposal or other kind of things. And CV, basically CV is a longer document and it includes many pages. Actually, it is a detailed document used for academic research and international jobs. When CV is asked, generally CV is asked for international jobs. If you have LinkedIn profiles, there you will find different types of CVs or templates of CVs are listed. Many of you might be using social media platforms, right? Are you use social media platforms like Facebook or other? Are you using? How many of you use Facebook? No one, or all of you? Do you know about Facebook? I am sure all of you are familiar with the Facebook. In the same way, we have another application called LinkedIn. There is yet another application called ResearchGate and Google Scholar, which is used for research. So, as a student, you should enroll yourself or you should register for ResearchGate and Google Scholar. It is also an application like social media applications where you can list your CVs, where you can display your CVs, and you will find probable opportunities in the field of job or in the market. So, these are some of the applications. Then if you go to the length of these three documents, you will find that resume is generally built into 1 or 2 page, biodata also in 1 or 2 page, but CV is longer. It is 10 plus pages, or there may be many pages of CV, because CV is a detailed document. It gives the complete information, academic information, research information, your achievements, many things are included in the CV. Next, its focus. When we think about resume, the focus is on skills, achievement, and the relevance to job. Basically, we build resume for the job. When we apply, we build resume. And in this class, we are going to build your resumes. All of you will be writing your resumes with this workshop. Then in biodata, the focus is on personal details and family backgrounds because it is sent for marriages and it is very popular in India or in Asian countries. And again in CV, we find that its focus is on academic and professional history because it gives the details, all the details about your achievements, your research, your professionalism, and your experience included in the CV or curriculum vitae. Then we have usage. Generally, resume is used in US or Canada, so it is given specific location. But now we find that we also use resume for job application. Then biodata is very commonly used in South Asian countries like India and Pakistan because the very term biodata is very famous. Whenever somebody asks you, you think about the biodata, sending biodata in some personal matters. Again, in CV, we find that it is generally used for applying PhD or faculty position. So, CV is a detailed kind of document. So, this is a very basic difference. I hope you got the idea of this basic difference. When you are going to use CV, when we use CV, when we want to express detailed information or when we want to give detailed information. For example, when you are applying for a job or faculty position or for PhD research, then we provide CV. If you are applying for some kind of research project, there also we provide the curriculum vitae. And there is another term or there is another kind of document which is used in academia, which is called as academic profile. You might have listened to this word or this term academic profile. Academic profile also is in the similar line of CV. As we build CV, in the same way we build academic profile. So there is similarity between academic profile and CV. So these are similar documents. So this is the key difference between these three terms. Now onwards, whenever you are asked about these three terms, you should know the basic difference. I hope you got the idea of this basic difference. Is it clear? Yes. So, this will be a communication. Whenever I am explaining these slides, you also participate. So, I expect from you that you should respond to my questions so that I can understand the level and your understanding uh, abilities. Okay. Now, let's talk about resume. What is resume? Resume is nothing but here you find a very clear definition of the resume is given. It is a professional document that provides a snapshot of your career history, education, skills, and accomplishments. It is tailored to the job you are applying for and serves as your first opportunity to make a strong impression on a potential employer. There are a few things we need to understand here in this definition. What is resume? Resume expresses your skills, your education, your career history, and achievement. So, these are the focus points of resume. And all these points we are including uh, in building your resume. What is next in the definition? The next part says that it is the first opportunity. So, what is resume? Resume is nothing but a document which expresses yourself, your abilities to work with some company, to work somewhere at some position. So, it is very important to build a very good resume to apply because it includes so many things. For example, we have education, skills, accomplishments, or achievements. Whatever you have achieved till time, you can include it in your resume. And it is a very strong impression on whom it is a strong impression on your employer to whom you are going to send your resume with your job application. So it is very important to build your resume with potential care. Okay. And it should be tailored according to your job profile. So there are different types of jobs. We also going to discuss about those jobs and you should build your resume as per your job requirement. It is very important. So basically what we do, we build a CV or we build a resume and we send the same resume to various posts irrespective of the posts or job profiles or job requirements. So first we need to understand what is the requirement of that particular job, and accordingly we need to build that basic application and resume. So this is the basic definition of resume. Now there are a few key components which we are going to include in your resume. And here I have displayed a book also which is called Writing That Works. This is a very important book. If you want to explore more, you can consult this book, or you can find some books on writing skills in your library. So this is one of the books. If you have the same book in your library, you can consult it. It's a very good book which covers so many topics which are listed there on the cover. For example, email, then we have resume, reports, proposals, speeches, memos, different types of things which are important in writing. All of you open your notebooks and just write down the points, whatever I am dictating, because we are going to build your resume. So I will explain the points and I will ask you what you need to write down. Okay. So these points we are going to cover in our resume or building a resume. Very first point is contact information. This is the basic point that must be included in your resume. Second point, all these points we are going to elaborate in the next slides. Just this is a display slide. Next we are going to include professional summary or job objectives, then work experience, then skills, education, certifications and trainings. There are some optional parts in your resume. Since you are students, so you do not have experience, so how you are going to include the experience? We are also going to address the same thing. So there are some optional parts in your resume. For example, projects or achievements, volunteer or extracurricular work that you can include in your resume. Then hobbies or interests, though this is an optional part, hobbies and interest, we are going to include it in our resume so that it can give the personality type, or it expresses your personality. What type of person are you basically when you are applying for some particular kind of job? Now let's talk about all these parts systematically. The very first part that we are going to include is contact information. Why we should include contact information? The basic reason is contact information is important so that the employer can contact you easily. This is the basic purpose of including contact information in your resume. The potential employer must contact you, or he or she should easily contact you, and hence we include contact information. So what kind of things that we are going to include in the contact information? Very first is full name, then phone number, then professional email address, for example first name dot last name at gmail.com. Now let me explain here what is professional and personal email address. So generally we have two basic email address types, that is personal and professional. Professional email address is that type of email address we use where we are working. For example, if you are now you are a student in a college, NSB college, and NSB college has a website, and with its website a webmail comes and the accounts are given to all the students, and the address many times becomes like this, at nsb.edu.in. So this is a kind of professional email address. And what is personal email address? Generally we use Gmail as a personal email address. So you all might have your email addresses. How many of you have your email addresses? Do you have email addresses?
Raise your hands over here. So we have the emails. Almost already have it.
You all have your email addresses. It will be an easier for us if you have already email address. Otherwise I have to explain how to open an email account and all those things, and it will consume a lot of time. Okay. So you should include email address. If you have professional email address with you, you can include it, and if you don't have professional, you can just provide your personal email address. Okay. Then if you have LinkedIn profile or your personal website, it is also important. If you are your LinkedIn profile or ResearchGate profile, just I talked about, or if you have Google Scholar ID, you can provide it here so that the employer can easily reach out to your academics or your achievements through your links or your accounts that you have provided in the resume. So provide LinkedIn profile or your portfolio link. If you have or if it is applicable, and also provide your address, city, and where you live or state basically. And here you can find an example is given, and now you have to write down your own example. This is the first step in building your resume. So I have listed here the contact information. You find that the example is given. There is a name Datta Sawant. Then you find the email, mobile phone number. Then you have email ID. Then you have LinkedIn profile and the address. Now all of you write down your own contact information in your notebooks. This is the first step. So write down your name, phone number, email address, and LinkedIn profile if you have, or any other kind of profile if you have, you are using as to show your academic achievements. Just write down. After completion of this session, you will have your resume in your hand, and you can send that resume to anybody where you are going to apply. Just write down the contact information of your own. Are you done? Okay. Shall we move? Your own information, not the information displayed on the slides. Okay. The second point here we are covering is professional summary. We should provide professional summary in our resume. There should be 2-3 sentences which expresses yourself, and why we should include this professional summary. Here we have a purpose, a brief statement that highlights your key qualifications, career goals, and what you bring to the role. So what should be included there in the professional summary? You find that 2-3 sentences summarizing your experience, skills, and achievements. Tailor it to the job you are applying for. It is very important to know about the job requirement. Unless we do not know about job requirements, we cannot provide or we cannot tailor the professional summary. And a statement is given here. You can find, since I am applying for the post of a teacher, and accordingly I have tailored or I have built the professional summary which is applicable to a job of a teacher. For example, you find that passionate and dedicated English language literature teacher with over 14 years of experience fostering a love for reading, writing, and critical thinking in students, skilled in designing engaging lesson plans, integrating technology into the classroom, and tailoring instruction to meet diverse learning needs. Now, this summary may not apply for yourself because this summary is tailored according to the job application or the job where I am going to apply. So, this description, professional summary, is of a teacher. When you are applying for a teacher, you can use this professional summary. For example, if you are applying for a different job like salesman or HR manager, the summary will be different. But what should be included in the summary? Basic things. You should include your experience if you have. If you don't have, include your skills. There are two types of skills, hard skills and soft skills. In the next slide, we are going to talk about the same. You should include your skills. Then you should include your achievements. You should include your education. For example, I have completed my graduation with first class. I have completed my graduation in distinction. I learned or I studied the subjects like English language and literature, economics, psychology, or other kind of subjects or papers in my graduation. So that should be your focus point. I have good communication skills. I can communicate in 2-3 languages. You should give that languages also in your professional summary. So this professional summary directly tells about yourself. What kind of person are you, or what kind of skills you possess, what kind of experience do you have, or different kind of things if you have with you. So I hope you got the idea. Now write down 2-3 sentences about yourself as a professional summary and think that you are applying for different jobs. Someone may think about applying for a manager, HR manager, or salesman, tax accountant, or a teacher, high school teacher, or an assistant professor, whatever you think. Just write down about yourself 2-3 sentences. So you need not to copy the matter, whatever displayed there on the slide. You can write on your own. Think about a job requirement, think about a position or post, and write accordingly. And remember one thing, that I am not going to check your notebooks, whatever you are writing. It is for you, and you should build your resume on your own. Just I am explaining the things that we are including in the resume. I am not building your resume, you are building your own resume. Okay, just you are using this information to build your resume. So I am not going to check the notebooks. Now, next thing is work experience. So, work experience is very important to include in our resume because it talks about our previous profile, what kind of work we did, or whether we are eligible to the post we are applied. So work experience also is important part in resume. Here you can find that why we should include work experience. The very first thing, it demonstrates your professional background and achievements, where you work, the previous company or previous job profile is given in the work experience. And what we should include in the work experience, these are some of the points: job title, company name, location, and dates of employment, month and year. Generally we provide in the date. Bullet points highlighting your responsibilities and achievements. Use action verbs and quantify results. This is again necessary. So your work experience also should express your abilities and the way you are working previously. Okay, so you can use the action words to describe your work experience so that it becomes emphasizing and focused. Then focus on relevance to the job you are applying for. For example, in the previous, you worked as a teacher in some school and now you are applying for an assistant professor. So that will be a link between your previous work experience and the next post you are applying for. So these things we are going to include. Now write down your own things in the work experience. If you have work experience, you can write down. If you don't have, just leave it blank. Now here you can find an example of work experience. When you are going to write answers for the questions which are asked in your examination, you can write down these points or you can use these points as your answer. Okay. So here you can find an example: associate professor, because we are giving job title. So this is the job title: associate professor, Toshniwal College, Sengaon, Hingoli, Maharashtra, and working from September 2009 to present, taught language and literature with dedication and skills, helped students to complete graduation with 95% passing rate, then prepared students in language and literature for grabbing opportunities in the field, improved overall students' performance. So this is the brief information about your work experience. So this information provides all the details, whatever you worked or whatever your job profile was. Okay, got the idea? Now if you have work experience, write down accordingly. In the next point, we are going to include the skills in our resume. So these are some of the parts of resume, and all these parts are important, which must be included in your resume. Now the skills, and what is the purpose of including skills in your resume? The very first thing is it highlights your technical and soft skills that are relevant to the job, because without that the employer will not understand what kind of skills you possess. So we must include skills in our job profile or in resume. And what we should include, for example, there are two types of skills: hard skills and soft skills. Now what are soft skills? Soft skills are those skills which we use, the skills like communication. And the hard skills, for example, there are some technical skills. Some of you might have done courses in mobile repairing or computer repairing or laptop repairing. So these kind of skills comes in hard skills. So you know how to fix a computer or how to fix a mobile phone with its hardware. You know how to insert a disk in a computer. So that kind of skills included in hard skills. And soft skills, here you can find, we have listed, there are basic three skills that I have included. and I have made this resume according to a post of an assistant professor or a post of a teacher. So I have included the very first skill, that is communication. Okay, and uh, a teacher must have good communication skills useful in teaching, critical thinking, and fostering perspectives of students. A teacher must possess communication skills so that student can understand. So this is the first skill that we must include in our resume when we are applying for the job of a teacher. The second skill we have assessment and evaluation. It is also very important for a teacher, that he must know how to assess students, you must know how to conduct exams, how to assess the answer scripts, how to prepare question papers, different types of skills you must know. So designing quizzes, tests and assignments to measure student progress. And the next skill that I have included here is technology integration. And what does it include? You find using tools like Google Classroom, Zoom, or interactive whiteboards, incorporating multimedia resources, for example, videos, podcasts into lessons. So, a teacher must know how to handle technology, because this is a very important skill. And if you look at the National Education Policy 2020, it has focused on integration of technology in education. Right now, we are conducting this workshop with the help of technology. Here, you have the projector, you have slides, we have used computer, and also we are recording a video. You will find this video on a YouTube channel called Literature Simply. This is what we are integrating technology in education. For example, if you don't a few things that I have explained here in the classroom, here in the workshop, you can go to YouTube, you can go to a certain channel, and you can find the same lecture, you can find the same workshop, and there again you can understand whatever points you missed. Okay, so integration of technology is very important, and wherever you are applying to whatever job, whatever requirement of a job is there, you can provide these technical skills or the integration of technology. You know computer, this is basic skill, right? You did a course in computer, for example, MSCIT, or somebody has done the DOAC course or some other kind of courses which are related to computer. Computer skills are must skills. You should know, because you handle computers, you handle Android mobile phones, right? So these skills must be included in the job profile or in the resume. Now let's take an example. So uh, you can write down whatever skills you possess. Okay, so write down 2 3 sentences or 2 3 skills that you have. If you have communication skills, you can write down in your skills section. This is the skills section. All of you might have fluent in many languages. You can include communication skills in English, in Marathi, or in Hindi. Some may be moderate proficiency in Telugu or Kannada. So you can write down. So next part that we are including in resume is education, and it is one of the highlights of your resume. The education that you completed, it shows your academic background and qualifications. What should we include in the education part? For example, degree, major institution, name and graduation date, relevant course, honors or awards. It is optional. Certifications and additional training if applicable. Wherever you are applying, the employer must understand your qualification. And education is nothing but the qualification that we include in our resume. In the template, we are going to set all these things. Just you are preparing your own resume. Okay, write down these points. Your education. For example, I have completed graduation in English language and literature, along with other subjects like economics, political science, or sociology. Just write down. If you have completed any other course, mention that course. For example, course in computer literacy like MSCIT, or the course like typing. Many of you might have completed the course of typing or appeared for the exam of typing. So you can write down there. If you have particular certificates You also can mention those certificates and achievements. I hope you got the idea. And here you can find an example of this education. MA English, we have to mention from where we completed that particular education. For example, if you have completed your graduation, you can mention Swami Ramanand Tirth Marathwada University, Nanded, or you can mention your institution name or college name, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose College, from where I have completed my graduation. And you can mention your subjects also. Then NET University Grants Commission, if you have done any other course like postgraduate certificate in teaching of English, this is a particular course in teaching of English. If you are student of English language and literature, if you are opted for English language and literature, you can complete this course after your post graduation. So you can mention that course. If you have completed any research degree, also you can provide that research degree. Okay. So this is an example of the education. The next part is certifications and trainings. Now it is an optional part, but if you have completed any kind of course or any kind of certificate, you can mention here. You find here the purpose of including these certifications and trainings. It demonstrates additional qualifications and expertise, and what we should include: certification name, issuing organization, and date earned, relevant training programs or workshops. And there you find an example. Now you all are students, so you might have not completed these certifications and trainings. If you have completed, you can include it. It gives an authenticity to your job profile or your resume. So here you find an example: postgraduate certificate in English from EFL University, Hyderabad, or DBM course or diploma from a certain university. Then several training programs attended, several national and international conferences attended. So if you have attended the workshops like this, now when you get your certificates of this workshop, you can include the workshop or this certificate in your certifications course, and you can very authentically express yourself that I have completed a course or a workshop on writing skills. Part in your resume, how we build our resume. So resume is a kind of document in which we add so many things, and at the very initial, if you don't have any experience, your resume will not have that kind of authenticity, or we can say that the focused points as mentioned here. For example, projects or achievements. You are a student, so till this time you do not have projects or this kind of achievements, but in next uh, years or in next your career, you can include all those points in your resume. If you have completed any project, the project for your graduation, you can mention it, because there are projects for third year students. If you uh, are from third year, there are projects of environmental sciences. If you are students of science, there are again projects in science faculty also. So you can include those projects here in this part. Okay. So write down if you have any projects. The next, extra co-curricular activities or curricular activities. Why we should include all these activities? For example, it highlights additional experiences that demonstrate transferable skills or community involvement. How you are involved in a community? Because we go in community, we work in community, and that also be expressed in your resume. So you can include extra curricular activities, whatever certificates you received. For example, if you have participated in some kind of activities which are held in your college, like cultural activities or cultural activities of the university, you also can mention those activities in this part. This is relevant to your job profile. And here you find an example, that coordinator student mentor scheme. If you are coordinator of some kind of committee in your college, for example, we have different committees, and there are some committees in which we find students are coordinators. For example, there is annual magazine committee, and some students work as an editor, student editor in that particular annual magazine committee. So you also can mention here that I have the skilled writing skills and I work as a coordinator of a committee in my college. There are different committees. For example, there is cultural committee and there are student representatives. You can provide this information in this part. Okay, you got the idea? So write down these specific points accordingly. If you are working in some kind of committees in the college as coordinators or representatives, you can provide that information here. As extracurricular activities, there are so many extracurricular activities basically we do in colleges. For example, we participate in NSS, we go for special camps of NSS. That also you can mention here as a achievement, because it shows your community engagement and it is important to reflect it in your resume. Then the last part here we should include is hobbies and interests. Why we should include hobbies and interests in resume? We should include it because it adds a personal touch and can showcase skills or qualities relevant to the job. And what we should include? A brief list of hobbies or interests that align with the company culture or role. So it is again necessary that you must have some kind of hobbies or interests, and everybody has that hobbies and interest. So there may be difference in the hobbies or interests. Some of the hobbies that you can find here. These are my hobbies. For example, I listed online content creation through YouTube channels at Janashikshan 24 and Literature Simply. So these are basically the names of YouTube channels that I run. I make content on these YouTube channels, for example, at Janashikshan 24, which is in Marathi language, and the second is Literature Simply, where you find the content related to English language and literature. If you want to improve your English, if you want to improve your literature, if you want to learn so many things in literature, you can go to that channel. So this is my interest. So this is not part of my job. This is not part of my uh, teaching, but it is the part of my hobbies and interest. I have interest in creating content. For example, you see here, I am recording this video and I will upload the video on the same channel called Literature Simply. Then reading literature and expressing views on it, the second interest. Then we have visiting places and creating informative vlogs on it and uploading to Facebook page called Travel Diaries. Again, I maintain two Facebook pages. One is called as Literature Simply and the second is Travel Diaries. If you go to Travel Diaries, you will find different types of blogs. Wherever I go, wherever I visit the places, I make vlogs. Now, vlogs are very popular. Many of you might be familiar with these vlogs. You might be scrolling this type of vlogs on your Android mobile phones. So, I also create content on the same, the page called Travel Diaries. So, this kind of interests, these kind of hobbies you can mention in your resume. So, it gives you the we can say that a particular kind of expressive value that you can tell about yourself. Other than this job profile, I have this interest and I have these kind of hobbies. Now what we should include in the resume, these are some of the very basic tips. Whenever we try to write down resume, we should keep all these points in our mind. For example, the very first point here, avoid vague terms like detail oriented or hard worker. There are so many students or there are so many candidates who write the words like I am a hard worker. So avoid these kind of words. Just express yourself and use a very particular professional language and choose the vocabulary accordingly, and avoid this detailed kind of orientation, hard worker, I work for hours and hours. So this is not necessary in your resume. Second thing is cite instances your skills benefited your team or employer. So this is very crucial to include in your resume because it gives you an opportunity to express your community engagement, the values you preserve, the values you have. Then make your contact information more prominent and precinct, more prominent, because the employer should contact you easily, and hence we have listed this contact information at the top. Use bullet points for better readability, and your resume should be clear and concise document. Whoever look at your resume, he or she should understand what is there in your resume or what is mentioned there. So it should be clear and precise. use clean job appropriate templates. So there are so many templates available online. So if you go, you will find. So this is one of the template, and you can find the templates on these different types of websites or applications. For example, the first is canva.com. So you can find this template I have prepared on canva.com. You can uh, uh, find that template. It's very neat and clear. Everything is mentioned very uh, clearly in that particular template. Then if you go to career.io app, you can find different templates. Then you have second or third template website, that is resumenow.com. Then we have builder.zt.com, then enhancecv.com, create.microsoft.com, or simply you can use Google Docs. Many of you might have your email addresses and Gmail accounts. So Gmail provides you 15 GB space free of cost on your Google Drive. All of you have mobile phones. So in your mobile phones, there is an application called Drive, and you can use that Drive, or there is another application called Docs, DOCS, Google Docs. And in that Docs, you find different types of templates are listed. You can select any of the template and you can prepare, you can build whatever points that we have discussed here. You can include it in your Google Docs template of resume building. So now we have prepared almost all points, right, to build your resume, and you can borrow any of the template from these websites. So these are free of cost templates. If you go to canva.com, just it needs your email address and the account will be opened, and you can use that canva.com, and you find different types of templates for jobs. So these templates are listed according to the requirement of the job. For example, if you are applying for the job of salesman, for the job of manager, for the job of a teacher, you find that kind of templates there on that particular websites. Okay, you got the idea of these templates, and here you see the template. Template. What is there in the template? Very first thing is you find name and designation. Second, contact information. Third, about me. What is about me? That we have built a professional summary. About me is nothing but the professional summary. You can include that professional summary in that particular section. The next section is skills section, and we have listed so many skills there. For example, communication, technical skills, or soft skills, or hard skills. Then education, then experience, then certifications and trainings. Then we have projects and achievements, and the last part that we have not mentioned earlier is references. You should give your references also, because nowadays these are included in your resume section. And I have listed two references. Now you can give references of those people who know you very well, and they know about your education, your achievements, and your personal life, or some kind of things that the person is familiar with you. So you can provide the reference as your teacher, but you should tell the persons that I am referring to you in my resume. So this is very important. Otherwise, if the employer will contact to your reference, and the person that you referred in that particular resume won't know about you, and he will not be able to talk about you or give your information to the that particular employer. So you should convey beforehand when you are referring to that particular person. So this section we can include at the end of your resume. So I hope you will build your own resume using these templates. Is there any problem? Just almost we have completed the part of resume.